Good evening. Welcome to Live United, a show where we highlight how we live, work, and play together in the Monadnock region to make lives better for everybody. Tonight, I am pleased to welcome my colleague and friend, Liz LaRose, to our show. Liz is the new president of Monadnock United Way. And so we've brought her on the show this evening so we could introduce you to the public and get people to know you a little bit more. So Liz, tell us about yourself, where you come from.
Oh, well, thank you first, Nikki, for hosting,
Sure.
and also for calling me a friend. I feel already like in the past month of being here that we're friends, us and everyone at the United Way office. In fact, it was probably within the first day, so I really
You did start on Halloween, which
I
is
did.
quite a remarkable day to start at our funny little office.
Yes, and nobody told me they were all dressing up for Halloween, but luckily you had something I could wear for the day, so yeah,
Always.
It was really wonderful. Thank you. So, background, how far back would you like me to go?
Well, let's see. What were you doing prior to coming to Monadnock United Way?
Sure. So before I came here, I was the Director of Marketing and Communications at Crotched Mountain Rehabilitation Center. And I had been there on staff for about 6 years, leading those programs. And prior to that, I was a consultant. I ran my own business. It was me, LaRose Marketing Communications, and I did that for 13 years. The last 5 of those years, Crotched Mountain actually was one of my clients. So I had actually been working with them probably for a total of about 11 years before coming here.
Wow. So where are you living in the Monadnock region?
So my husband and I are in Sharon, New Hampshire, just south of
nice.
Peterborough, our nice little hamlet. And we moved here about, it'll be 16 years at the end of January. And we came out here because we're outdoorsy people. We love the environment. We love community. We had both come here from Nashua. We grew up in Nashua and Hudson, New Hampshire. And we actually had friends out here. And as we were looking to buy a home and we were looking through Nashua and the surrounding regions, our friend was our realtor, and she just knew how much we enjoyed being outdoors, and finally said, you know what, I think I really need to show you some listings and homes in the Peterborough area. That's because it's where we spent our weekends. And so we did, and as soon as I came over the mountain into the Peterborough area, into the Monadnock region, I knew this was the place we needed to be, and it didn't take us too long to find a home, and we've been very happily here since.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a good place for you with the environment and the community.
Yes.
The Monadnock region has a lot to offer for your family.
It does.
Yeah. So at Crotched Mountain, you did marketing communications. So can you talk a little bit more about what kind of populations you were working with, and maybe how that set the stage for your transition to Monadnock United Way?
Sure. So at Crotched Mountain, we serve people with disabilities, and the services at Crotched Mountain include a hospital that's a 62-bed hospital for people with disabilities, particularly those who have had brain injury, spinal cord injury, and then pediatric patients as well, from a whole range of pediatric needs. There's also a special education school, and the special education school serves over 100 children, and those children have needs that can't be met in the public school. So, you know, if you go back 20 years, Crotched Mountain may have looked more like a school that had children with CP or other types of disabilities. Those children can be served in the public school now, as they should be. And so Crotched Mountain had changed over the years and serves children that have autism and, you know, really tough emotional behavioral disorders, you know, things that are much harder to take care of in the school system right now. Sure. Although I think that will change over the years, and then we will change who we serve, or Crotched Mountain will change who they serve. But I think the preparation for that really comes in the work that we did for marketing and communications and overall outreach to the community. Crotched Mountain is a large organization with all those moving parts, plus many other services I haven't mentioned. Those are probably the 2 largest. And being able to work with large teams of people to bring marketing together and turn Crotched Mountain into a marketing community is a lot of the work I did. So we would work with teams within each department, and everybody really did become a marketing community together. And so that type of work, bringing people who really don't usually do marketing, maybe it's kind of peripheral but are now highly involved in it, that's the kind of work when you look forward to what we're doing at United Way and moving into a collective impact model. That's the type of work, bringing a lot of different groups together to come to a celebrated success. That's the type of work I think that prepared me for, I think, where we're going now.
That's a very good point, because
Thanks.
absolutely, it's above and beyond what an organization does through programmatic work. It's about how they communicate that to the public and how the public understands what that organization does. So I think it's really strategic timing that you come into Monadnock United Way, where the organization is going through much change, and I think a lot of communication is needed, and that's part of why you're on this show, is to communicate with the public about
exactly.
about why you've come on board. So with your new role in Monadnock United Way, what have you been up to so far in your past 5 weeks or so?
Oh my goodness, quite a bit. So it's been a really amazing learning experience, and there's so much more to learn. We have been, so one of the wonderful things is I've walked into a strategic plan that took, you tell me, probably a year to pull together.
It was, the better part of a year.
Yep. So a lot of community work has gone into that, not only within Monadnock United Way, but within our general community. And so I walked into a completed plan, and that's a gift, right? Not everybody gets that. And so I've been making myself familiar with the plan, and it's quite an in-depth plan, and I think it's going to take us in a wonderful direction, looking at impact and also looking at how we invest. And investing in community, but also bringing, again, I know I keep saying community, but bringing that entire community together to address what are our social needs. And I understand there was a study, I've also read that was done 4-ish years ago, and that study really identified some areas for us to focus on, one of which would be child well-being, educational attainment, and then economic opportunity. So as I'm reading and looking at this strategic plan and what it's asking us to do, or what we're asking ourselves to do, is how do we pull all those things together and bring our community together to work on those areas.
Sure. So it sounds like Monadnock United Way, with this new strategic plan, which was developed largely with the support of community members and the board of directors, which are all volunteers as well, looks like there's going to be a shift toward investing in impact, as you said. So what does an investment in impact look like compared to what Monadnock United Way is doing now? What might that change process, or what might that change look like?
Sure. So again, we're looking at a 3 to 5 year process, but the change would look like starting to move our community and our organization toward focusing on those 3 areas. Again, so child well-being, economic opportunity, and educational attainment. And how do we invest? So how do we start shifting our investments towards say, as one example, RFPs, where we're asking the community to come together and collaborate. Maybe different agencies are collaborating, maybe it also includes governmental entities or others toward achieving a goal. So if you look, say, at child well-being, we will be working with the community first to start setting up some goals. What type of goals do we want to reach as a community? What's the issue, which has been outlined in our study? And then how do we want to achieve that? And let's all agree on how we want to do that, or at least what goals we want to measure. And then encouraging all of our agencies, and not only the agencies and partners that we work with, but all nonprofits and community, to look toward those goals and work toward those together. And as we move that forward, we would also be looking at what are our agencies and nonprofits doing and already doing well. How does everyone do their good work, but do it while looking up to kind of attaining that particular goal? And then we would look at issuing some RFPs.
What's an
And
RFP?
So an RFP would be a request for proposal. So we may shift and start working toward issuing some of those proposals that a community can come together on, and different agencies and partners could collaborate toward achieving that goal. Now, ideally, over the long term, when you start looking out 3 and 5 years, our community is, and by the way, our community already works really well together. I think that's one of the great things about being here. But it's doing that in a little bit more of a concerted way. And when you're able to show that type of gain, so if we had a goal for child well-being, and we can show a gain as a community, everyone working toward these specific gains, presumably we will have more impact on our community, but presumably we'll also be able to bring in other types of funding and new funding toward achieving those goals. So,
Like grants and that sort of thing?
yeah, absolutely, and maybe collaborative grants. So if our community is collaborating, hopefully we can get funders to collaborate as well. So it's a long-term vision, but we will start moving in that direction within the next year, which is pretty exciting.
That is very
Yeah.
exciting. So bringing our community together, bring organizations who are already working together, but having a shared vision and shared measurements to get toward that vision.
Yes.
It sounds like just a different way of doing business, a different way of collaborating together. It sounds like that's also a very smart way, as
Yes.
it could bring in new funding to
Absolutely.
our area, which is always, the struggle. Just in our last show, actually, I had Peter Hansel, our general campaign chair, on, and he was sharing it's traditional fundraising is getting challenging, so it's time to innovate and figure out new ways to bring resources to our region.
Yes.
And I think it's wonderful that you're leading this change process to help bring those resources in an effort to just make more good work happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And actually, it's all of us leading it together, right? Everyone in our office and the community as a whole.
Absolutely. Wow. So I was wondering, over the past couple of weeks, what have you found especially challenging in this new role that you've taken on? I'm sure coming into a new role as an executive director is a big set of shoes to fill. Do you find anything particularly that you're taking on as a challenge and working on steadily?
So before we talk about challenge, filling big shoes, so glad to have come into this organization and to have be filling the shoes of Kathy Harrington, or now Kathy Collinsworth. Just an amazing person, and I'm just so glad to be following in her footsteps, and hope that I can do as good of a job as she has done in the past 6 or 7 years, right? Yeah, so, but challenges, I think for challenges, it's probably really getting a handle on all of the wonderful things that we're doing and learning about them. There are a lot of people to meet, and I've already started doing that. There's still a lot to learn about the work that we have been doing over the years and the direction that we're going in. And so if we want to call that a challenge, it's probably a really good one to have.
Yeah, keeping track of all the moving pieces.
Yeah, and I really enjoy everything that I read, and every time I have a meeting and meet with someone, there's like another layer that reveals itself. And so I'm looking forward to getting all of those layers revealed.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure there are a lot of folks who are on board to help you with that, to help you get through those challenges as well, whether it's staff or volunteers, the great volunteers that come through United Way that help make the work possible. They're all there to support you in your transition period as well.
Absolutely, it's been wonderful. You, Kelly, Cam, Gary, Catherine, everyone has been, and Nick and Marge have been so wonderful in sitting down with me every time I have a question and explaining, all right, how does this work? What does this landscape look like? And our board has been the same, and we have an extremely strong board. And you know what? It's not just that, it's also our community members. Every place I go, since I've taken this position, and actually since I accepted it, so even before I started, everyone I meet will say something to me about United Way and how they've either volunteered, been on allocations, been a loaned employee, are a leadership giver or a giver at any level, or even people who have been touched by the partners that we work with. And it's been humbling to see the reach of this organization and how ingrained we are in the Monadnock region. It really has been humbling, and every one of those people that I've met has also had wonderful messages about what they think about our organization, about the great work that we've done, and also their support for where we're going, and also sometimes some good, tough questions. And that's
Sure.
important because it is change, and as you move through change, you want to be able to address whatever people's concerns are, but you also have to know about them so you can work on them together. And people have been really upfront and honest, and I appreciate that quite a bit.
Definitely. Well, when you're coming into an organization with about 65 years of history,
Yeah.
there's a lot of history to catch up on, and community members have been involved at all stops along the way. And so you're a new leader, a new generation of leaders coming
Yes.
into the organization, which is great. So beyond the challenges, what have you found really exciting, or what have you been really enjoying working on since you started with us?
Oh goodness, basically all of it, but really learning about, again, impact and what we are doing in the community. If you look even at Impact Monadnock, which is a sister organization of ours, and watching Marge and all of the coalitions that she has pulled together to work on child development from age 0 to 5 has been pretty exciting. And the amount of reach that we have as a community and the amount of people at all levels who are working toward the initiatives that Impact Monadnock has identified in the past 2 years it's so exciting. And I'm so enjoying watching it unfold as it goes along, and looking toward, okay, as Monadnock United Way also moves in an impact direction. And we've started, and it has been going for quite some time, but as we really make that effort through our strategic plan, looking forward to how that is going to play out is pretty exciting.
Yeah, impact is an exciting new world of possibilities in terms of community building and collaboration and what's possible. So it's really exciting to hear you feel so excited about the collective impact model.
Yeah, both of those are really, when you think about, and I think you might have asked this earlier, but why this organization? And it's that model and that idea and the direction that United Way is going was really what made me think, wow, I would love to be a part of this. I love this community. My husband and I are committed to it. And it's just a great place to live, and we want to make sure that everybody feels like it's a great place to live. And I think this is a way to do that will have a lot of impact.
It sounds like you're very committed to the organization
Thank
and
you.
to the region, and getting off the professional talk session right now. I'm curious, what do you do in this region that beyond work? What do you do beyond work that makes you love this region so much?
Oh, we personally love the outdoors. And there's so much opportunity here for hiking and kayaking and, just enjoying our region. We have wonderful organizations that make sure that our region stays beautiful, the Monadnock Conservancy, the Harris Center, etc. So we love doing that personally on our own time. But also when you look here at this community and the arts culture that's here, and just, it's a really laid back community. And having come from Nashua, and I love my city, Nashua, but this has just a little more level of chill that's really wonderful to be around. And so, in addition to spending our weekends out and about trying, hiking or kayaking in this region, we also just love to go to the downtown area. Peterborough's Depot Square is kind of a regular haunt for us. Now that I'm spending more time in Keene, I'm starting to learn a lot more about what Keene has to offer and all the beautiful restaurants and stores that are downtown. And it's so walkable here. It really is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we ski, but of course, skiing in this region, we would go to Crotched Mountain if we were skiing in this region.
Right.
But we are very avid skiers, and so our winters are spent seeking out the slopes as much as possible on the weekends.
Oh, Liz, well, it sounds like you're such a perfect fit for Monadnock United
Oh.
Way in this transition process, as well as just a perfect fit as a community member who's, really committed to being here and seeing the people here live, work, and thrive.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we wrap up tonight?
Well, I know I've said the word community many times, and you'll probably hear it until people are like, stop saying that. But we have an amazing community, and I actually mentioned this at a campaign meeting the other day. And I'm not sure that the people who live in this region really understand how strong our community presence is. When you live in other areas of the country, and even in other areas of New Hampshire, although New Hampshire is very, very community-minded, it's not the same as here. And when I mentioned this at one of the campaign meetings, everybody kind of gave me this blank stare, like, well, of course it's community. But I think we take for granted how much and how involved everyone is at all levels, and it really is at all levels. And an example to give you with that is, if you look at the United Ways across the state, the largest United Way in the state is Granite, and that they raise quite a bit of money per year. We raise about $2 million a year. We are the second largest United Way in the state in our reach and in what we are able to raise, and that says a lot about the Monadnock region. And they give of their time, the 3 T's, their time, their talent, and their treasure. And people here really do give, and I hope everyone realizes how much they do, because this doesn't happen everywhere. It really doesn't. So I'd like people to know that, and that we're very appreciative of them, and we're looking forward to working with them in the coming years.
Yes, there's a lot of power and magic packed in this
God.
little corner of the state, right?
All everywhere. It's just, I'm telling you, especially knowing how much every person has said we've touched them, United Way has touched them. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for coming on our
Thank
show,
you.
Liz, and sharing a little bit about yourself and your background and your current work and future goals. It sounds like you have a lot on your plate, but couldn't ask for a better leader to work on it.
Thank you.
So,
Well, couldn't ask for better team members.
well, a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And audience, thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Again, we had Liz LaRose, new president of Monadnock United Way. If you're ever interested in getting in touch with Liz, you can always give us a call at our office at 352-4209, or shoot Liz an email at liz@muw.org. And I hope you tune in with us next week to Live United, a show where we talk all about how we live, work, and play together to make the Monadnock region a better place. So I hope you all live united, remember to give, advocate, and volunteer. Good night.